Hey folks, here's another artwork video, and today we're going to be looking at Ron Spencer. Last video was Phil and Kaja Foglio, who were very playful and almost silly, often silly, and kind of fun and frivolous. And Ron Spencer is just the opposite. He is dark, he is violent, he is grotesque, he is ugly, he is heavy metal album art. And I think before I get into the cards that I chose, I think a good illustration of Ron Spencer's style would be to look at the card Goblin Grenade from Fallen Empires. One of my favorite cards is I really liked playing Goblin direct damage decks, and this is both a Goblin and direct damage card. So this is a card that's pretty strong in concept. It's you sacrifice a Goblin to have Goblin Grenade deal 5 damage to one target. So various artists interpreted this in different ways. First was Dan Frazier, probably the simplest. You see a goblin just carrying a grenade into where this dwarf guy is, and it's going to explode and kill them both. Christopher Rush did it a little more elaborately. He's more of a suicide bomber. He's a goblin with actual explosives strapped to him whereas he is holding the fuse. And he's very happy to be doing it. And then we get to Ron Spencer, who is this, well, first of all, let me go back. So goblins have been expressed in various ways throughout Magic. Here it's kind of this dopey-looking guy, not very fierce, and again, this guy, he's got the teeth and the ears and everything, but he's not like this strong monster. Whereas Ron Spencer draws him as this very muscular, pretty much naked, very fierce warrior, holding a very nasty-looking weapon, in addition to this large barrel of explosives on his back, complete with metal spikes. So that just kind of shows, and it looks like there are other goblins exploding around him. And this just goes to show the kind of attitude that Ron Spencer brought to his artwork. So here we have Word of Binding, again, this pretty much naked guy with a lot of very sinewy muscles, the suggestions of a human torso, but these very insect-like claws in his hands, these random kind of intestines coming out of his head, these kind of impossible teeth, and this long, spiky tongue. And again, he put a lot of effort into making this guy as ugly and as grotesque and nasty looking as possible, which really doesn't have a lot to do with what the card does, which is just tapping a bunch of creatures. It's tapping one creature, and the actual tapping effect is just a bolt of lightning. So Marsh Viper, I think this shows that even where he is not drawing muscles, which is kind of his specialty, he still manages to make things really sinewy and grainy. You can see what you would expect to be kind of a smooth reptilian skin on the snake is actually very coarse, and there's a lot of lines to it, and obviously there's just a lot of coils and squirmy things going on with this snake. It looks like one big snake and a bunch of little baby snakes, which is even more grotesque, and that actually is quite similar to what he did in this, Bog Rats, where he added the small, gross, pink, wrinkly baby rat just for an added touch of the grotesque. And again, rats, they're pretty nasty to begin with, but he gives them this matted fur, these bald, wrinkly faces, these very nasty teeth, glowing yellow eyes, and these, very earthworm-like tails. Again, just a lot of added texture, a lot of added kind of body horror with just how gross and natural everything is. Bog Imp is the same way. Again, we have the very sinewy muscles, those kind of cold, dead eyes, very similar to the rat's eyes, actually. And this fish skeleton for an added touch of nasty. And I like actually in this one the fact that the imp's hands and feet are red, kind of suggesting that they're covered in blood without actually making that explicit. Maybe that's just the way he looks, but he also could have just been ankle and wrist deep in a corpse. And then finally there is Terror, which I think is a very iconic Ron Spencer painting. It's very simple but very effective. It's this guy is completely naked. He's skin and bones. Again, sinewy muscles, ribs showing, impossible. This impossible, bugged out, terrified eye. This impossible gaping mouth. This hair that's white with fright. And then rather than give him a background, which Ron does in most of his drawings, you can see there's pretty detailed settings. Not so much in that one, but he tends to give his characters settings, whereas this guy's all alone, just in impenetrable blackness, and he's terrified, and he's about to die. And I think that's just a really good encapsulation of what this card is all about. So, there are my thoughts on Ron Spencer. Thank you for watching.